What if you could quit your job in just 6 months doing something you absolutely love? Well, today's guest has done exactly that. Go, Steph. And she has amazed us with her results in being able to achieve this within 6 months. So today we are going to talk to Steph about what she's done, how she did it, and where she's going to be going to next. So, Steph, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming on the Digital Investors Podcast today.
I'm out. Thanks for having me.
And Steph, it is so cool to have you here. And I'll put it in context for our listeners. So just 2 nights ago, we are at one of our meetups, and you were telling us how we didn't even realize your success, that the big one, that you'd actually quit your job. So Steph blew us away, telling us not only how much money she's making, but how she's quit a job. So what we said was, let's get Steph on today to capture this moment in time, because this is unusual in that you've been able to do it in under 6 months, Steph. And what we want to find out of you, Steph, today, no pressure or anything, but how have you done this and why you did it and where you're going to next. So Steph, you got to let us know. So let's start out. What were you doing just 6 months ago?
I was a high school teacher. So I was teaching year seven science and year 12 English, year eight Christian studies. Like I was jack of all trades at the
Yeah.
school. I didn't really have a specific area I was working in. But yeah, teaching high schoolers and loving it, but not loving it enough to miss out on time with my own kids. So I just thought we got to do something else.
And fill in for us, where are you located in Australia? Because
I'm in Harvey Bay in Queensland.
yep. So for our international listeners, it is a beautiful part of the world. It's in northern Queensland. It's kind of considered a touristy type place, but it's quite regional, isn't it? There's not a what's the population of Harvey Bay?
Oh, you're asking me questions I have the answer to.
Not that
Um, no, I don't know. It's not very big at all. People might know it more so because it's where the whales come and visit. So you can come and whale watch here, and it's right near Gari. So yeah, it's really beautiful spot to live.
Yep, very very nice part. It's so kind of a touristy kind of place and regional. So 6 months ago, you're a school teacher. Like, how did you discover us? What made the change? What were you looking for in your life?
To be honest, really stumbled into digital investing. My brother, he called me up one day and he's like, "You've got to hear about this amazing program. Like, it's incredible. Like, people are quitting their jobs and earning a heap of money online." And
Yeah,
he invests in real estate. So obviously, you're outlaying a lot more money than what you really need to get started online. And I just thought, why not? Like, why not have a go? I did it in secret for so long.
yeah.
Didn't tell anyone
Oh yeah.
because,
Yep.
yeah, I'm a bit of a perfectionist in that, like, I want to make sure something's working. I think
Good.
um, I wouldn't be willing to tell everyone I'm, throwing everything at this new plan if I didn't think it was going to work. But the more that I learned and the more that my mindset changed around really what's possible with this, I thought, you know, I may as well try. I may as well really back myself and yeah, give it a good go.
That is so cool. And how? What's the main strategy that you've been doing? So you've uh, like when you're on our course, you're learning about buying and selling websites. But what is the main strategy that you've used to let you quit your job so far?
The digital agency strategy. Yeah.
Okay, so why did you
So
choose what yeah, why did you choose that one above? I'm just interested, like above the say, because here you are, you got a secure job, right, as a school teacher.
yeah.
And like you said, you didn't hate it or anything. I'm presuming you enjoyed that quite a bit. What was going on there? What made the change? Because you can buy websites part time. Why did you decide to do the agency strategy?
I chose the agency because, as you and Liz teach, that's how you're going to make some money quickly.
Yep.
We know the portfolio strategy, I mean, it can happen quite quickly for some people, but agency certainly has proven to make that happen a little quicker. And I I was really aware that in my job, like, teaching is a really important job, and I think you really have to love it and you have to want to be there. And if you don't, the kids know, it's not
Yeah.
a job that you can do unless you're passionate about it. And I needed something to get me out of that quickly because I really had lost that passion. And
Ah,
I needed something to reignite that in myself as well. And this
okay.
has been great. It's been like the perfect mix of something structured but really creative, and yeah, just opened up a whole new world that I had no idea about.
That is so cool. So you did actually want to quit your job then. It was that an underlying drive, or was it through all of this? That
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to quit my job when it became quite apparent that I was going to have to ask for a lot of time off in order to be the type of mum I wanted to be. So I've got two daughters.
Yep.
They're 2 and 4. So I mean, we're in like the throes of toddlerhood, and it's a lot, but I want to be the mum that's able to be there at school drop off, pick up, Mother's Day breakfasts, cross country, like you name it. I want them to always turn around and see, oh, mum's in the crowd or mum's right here. And I
Awesome.
just couldn't do that in the job that I was in. I can't just pack up and leave my classroom when my kids have something on, and my kids weren't going to be going to the school that I was teaching at. So it became quite tricky in,
Ah,
managing that life that I really, really wanted.
yep.
So yeah, I was like, throw everything at it. Just go, jump in
Well,
head first.
seriously, good on you because you're prepping now for the future because your kids are 2 and 4, and you know that's coming up, that lifestyle where you're going to miss them if you're working 9 to 5, or what did school teachers work these days? Like a lot longer hours than
Oh,
that, I'm presuming.
it's
But
longer than that.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's sort of sold to you as like it's family friendly because your kids are at school and you're at school, but any teacher listening or anyone out there
yeah,
will know that that's
yeah,
just certainly not the
yeah.
case. Yeah, and there was an instance where I felt like I wasn't going to be able to ask for time off to go to something for one of my daughters, and so I just took the day off work because I didn't want to ask, and I thought I can't do this all the time.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, so I
That
changed my life.
that is awesome because as you know, Steph, there's lots of mums in our community who are wanting to hear this because they're deciding, well, how can we have that lifestyle? Because the other thing that was fun, and I'll share with our listeners now. The other night when we were talking to you about this, you heard Liz share that for the last 20 years, she has not worked before 9:30 or after 2:30. So that I think that's inspirational for people to hear. You can set your life up with intention. Liz, as you know, Liz is really big on that sort of a thing. And I think working online allowed her to do that for 20 years. That, Liz is a machine though. She's awesomely effective, like all of you women are. When you've got kids, she wanted to be there in the morning as we were raising our kids, and she said I'll never work before 9:30, and then she just gets everything done before 2:30, and then she finishes, she's off. I mean, there's other times when you got to work on the weekends and things like that, so it's not, but generally over the last 20 years she's never done that. Always worked 9:30 till 2:30, and I think that's a great thing that you can do with when you're working online. And so for yourself now, are you, let's look at what you're doing. So you're doing the agency. How is that sort of a lifestyle panning out? Because I know, you want the same thing, that 9:30 till 2:30. Is that realistic what you've seen so far? So you've only been doing this for 6 months. Go, Steph. That is amazing. What's it like now? What are you doing now day to day?
My life day to day is just so different to what it was. I get to wake up and not rush my children. Like I was hyper aware that I was forcing them out the door so early and rushing them off to daycare just to rush to the other end of town to teach someone else's kids to then rush back to them. And I was like, I'm creating these like anxious little kids because I'm constantly rushing
Yeah.
them to go somewhere that I don't really want to be. And I don't want them to see that. I didn't want that to be their reality. So I wake up, I get my kids ready, we leave, when everyone's ready. We don't leave when we're like having to be forced to eat breakfast in the car and,
Yep.
rush off to somewhere.
Perfect.
I go to Pilates in the morning,
Yeah.
and then I work. I meet people. I meet the coolest people. I meet the nicest people.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you'd told me 6 months ago that I would love going out and meeting all of these business people, and I would have thought, you're kidding. I don't belong in rooms with these people, but they're just like you and I, and yeah, they're lovely. I've had a really nice time, like, moving into this new phase of my life. It hasn't been, I mean, it's been a lot of work, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning a lot. I
And
think it's probably been more mental work than, anything too arduous. Like, I'm, not doing anything too crazy, but I've had to work a lot on how I view myself and how I view my reality. Like, what do I want my day to look like? And is that possible for me? Yeah, after Pilates, I go to work, work on my
yeah,
websites,
yeah.
and then I go pick my kids up and I cook them dinner. And then once they're in bed, work on some more websites.
Good. Yeah. So, and people need to hear that. You, when you're in this getting a business started, you've got to put in some grind. Like there's work to
Oh,
this.
yeah.
So you're doing like a lot of other champions say, once the kids are in bed, you're working at night. How many hours would you do at night, do you think?
Oh, I find I prefer to wake up a lot earlier than everyone else and do it in the morning, like when my
Okay.
brain is functioning a little better. So I am up really early. I do a few hours a night. If I've got a lot on, like at the
Yep.
moment, I've got a lot on,
Good.
I ramp that up a bit, but it doesn't feel like work.
Okay.
Like, it is work, but it doesn't feel like a hard job. It feels hard in that I have to overcome a lot of problems and figure these problems out. But if you're willing to learn and you're willing to have a crack at it, anyone can do it. If I can do this, absolutely anyone can. Like, it might sound like I knew about tech being a high school teacher, but I could barely turn the whiteboards on. Like, I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah.
So
So
you're not. So I want to point out to our listeners, like as your coach here, um, you're actually learning really when you're going on. So Steph, you're not meant. So for our listeners, for the record, I don't recommend you quit your job in the first year. The first year, Steph, is meant to be a learning year, not an earning year, and you're meant to be because it does take a long time to learn this stuff, doesn't it? But what I want to capture today is. Congratulations to you. You're backing yourself. You're just going, no, this is starting to work. So I'm going to, I'm just going all in because you're pre-planning and you can back yourself. So what I want to share with people, it's so they can see your situation and so they can liken it to themselves. Working in a job that you kind of burnt out over and you can see you need to change it because you're a young mum. What sort of money are you making now? Let's look at that. So people have got some context. So you're in a region. We do need to preface this. Remember, Steph's in a regional town, so money goes a lot further in a regional town. So far off these websites, how much money have you made? Because this was the bit that blew us away. We didn't. If you're listening to this, we didn't even realize. Steph never told anyone. She happened to mention to one of our coaches how much money she's making within the first 6 months. So what are you doing at the moment?
well, I added it up recently, and including all the web builds and the recurring maintenance, I'd be close to 15 grand.
It's only
Since
six
my
months.
first paid customer was in the end of November, December.
Okay. So how long ago was
Yeah.
that for us? What, 2 months ago? So realistically, this is in the
Months.
last 3 months. And like Liz said to you, if you're a school teacher,
Yeah.
how long's it? Yeah, looking at that, is that one of the things when you and your husband looked at that, and you just went, how long would it
Yeah.
take to generate? Like, if you keep going at that rate, you're going to replace your income pretty quickly, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. I will surpass my income quite quickly if we keep going at that rate.
Well done.
But I think, yeah, even more so than that, the fact that I now believe in myself, that I can make money for myself, was a really big
Yep.
turning point for me. So outside of making the money, I said to you the other night, I'm a different person. Like, I'm a different mother, a different wife.
Yep.
I am I'm just the best version of myself at the moment. And I really do owe it to you guys, because I don't think without the program I would be where I am, and I would probably just continue to live not aimlessly. That's probably a bit hard on myself, but I wasn't really living with intention of like, how am I going to live this life that I long to live. I always had this feeling that I wanted to work in business somehow, but I had absolutely no idea how. And I love talking to women in business. I love meeting the business owners that are
Yep.
women and just seeing them light up over their amazing ideas. And a lot of them are mums as well. And it's awesome. Like, it's so cool to see.
So is that how you got going in this, like in your local community? What were your first steps? Because that's what everyone wants to know. So you don't come from any business background. You know business people. You're a school teacher. How did you get going? Because that was my question to you the other night. Hang on, how did you do this 15 grand? You're meant to be learning this stuff, not just you're already out selling websites. What was your first steps?
Well, I I started on Champions. Is it end of September we started?
Yeah,
And I knew going
September.
into Champions, I was like, well, if I'm starting Champions, I need to start like on the front foot. Like, I need an agency. So I like quickly threw together my agency. And then I was like, I need a website for this. I need some business cards. And then I just bit the bullet and went to my local Chamber of Commerce meetings. I have
Yeah.
another networking event tomorrow. I started reaching out to people, and I posted my agency on social media. So my first paid client came from my sister-in-law sharing my post.
All
Pays to have a
right.
big family, to
Yeah.
share it far and wide. And she called me randomly on Facebook Messenger, and she's like, I don't have your phone number. I don't know how to get onto you. I'm sure I saw somewhere that you've started a digital agency. I'm like, yeah, I have.
Awesome.
Um, and from there, it's been word of mouth. So
Okay,
the
so word
great
of
thing
mouth.
about, yeah, living in Harvey Bay, it's like the 3 degrees of separation. So, someone's always talking to someone. And if you manage to get a hold of the right people and you do a good job for them, it's nice that they'll tell
Perfect.
someone.
So for you being in a regional town, because you heard the other night, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're thinking this. There was a few of us who were asking, how well does this strategy work in a regional town that's pretty small? And like you said, people are friendly. Yeah, everyone knows her. Liz and I are the same. We grew up in a country towns. Everyone knows, or like how you said,
Yeah.
that's a better way to word it. It's third degrees of separation,
Yeah.
and you've found that to be the case. Um, Obviously, Steph, because you're beating some of our champions who are in the city areas in under 6 months. You know, Steph, this is a record, don't you? So we've also got to put this on recording here for everyone. Believe this is a record. You are the in under 6 months. I don't think we've ever had someone a champion on our podcast in under 6 months. You're the first champion ever to be on the podcast in under 6 months. There you go. Congratulations, because
Thank you.
it was just so impressive to achieve that sort of money. Now, obviously that's not life-changing sums of money or anything like that, and
Yeah.
typically you wouldn't think that's a quit your job moment, but as we were all talking the other night, and I will mention this, it's like Chris Dinham, one of our coaches here. Remember, he was the same. He wasn't earning, quit your job amounts of money. It was just because he, exactly like you, was looking forward to the future. He was FIFO. He didn't want to be in that environment. And I share that with anyone listening here. People like Steph and Chris, they're go-getters. They don't listen to Matt. They quit their jobs. They go, we're just doing this, and the sky's the limit. But hats off to you for taking the big leap. And one of the other things that I do want to point out, Steph, you've mentioned quite a bit. Obviously, anyone listening can see family is super important for you. Like, not just your kids, but you got a big family. So your husband, presumably he's fully on board with this. This must be a family decision. What does your husband do? So we've got it in context as well.
Yeah, he's an electrician. He's so on board. He's like, whatever, Dal, you do whatever you like. He
Cool. Yeah.
backs me 100%. I think, yeah, he's got
Awesome.
full faith. He's like, whatever I put my mind to, he's the one who believes that I can really do it. So I think that goes a long way. I also am like, if I say I'm going to do something, it's happening. Like, I
Okay.
I there's
Yep.
no other way for this to go other than my way, which is it working out.
Why does that not
Um,
surprise me, Steph? And it's like all the other female champions and Liz. It's just when you're a go-getter, and that's what I love about this community. And anyone listening to this is obviously, if you're this far into the interview, you're a go-getter as well. But that makes a difference, doesn't it? So that's given your husband the confidence to say, go for it. And so he's still got it. He's keeping his job. He's not doing anything to do like I don't even know your husband. He's not on our course or anything like that, is he? He's not involved in it.
no, no, I think he'll probably want to jump on though now that he's
Yeah.
seen, you know, what's possible. I said it's
All
almost
right.
like you peek behind the curtain of what these other business people are doing out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, just he sees that I've been able to create this life that I'm loving at the moment, and like this like schedule that works really well for us and our kids. And I think, you know, maybe you'll have a new champion at the end of the year
Yep.
and my husband will join
Would
us.
would love to have him on. It would be awesome. And
Yeah.
then you can push him. See, that's what happens with lots of the champions that come on. But a lot of people see that, there's couples involved here, and I think your story is great in that your husband is behind the scenes, but very, very supportive. And I think that's super important. And that's a really good situation to be in. And I guess for you both as a young couple, you got the stability of his. So I'm comfortable for your sakes. You've got the stability of a regular income anyway, and you've just seen that this can work. You're earning more potentially as a teacher anyway, so you might as well quit now. I can't believe I'm saying this. And yeah, and so that's been your thinking at this point, and you can just back yourself anyway. You've got nothing. There's no downside here for the next 12 months.
No, and I sort of just remind myself of like, well, worst case scenario, you know, I stop earning any money from websites
Yep.
and I've learned a really cool skill. I'm, you know,
Yeah.
so much more out. I mean, I was always quite an outgoing person, but not in situations that I'm uncomfortable in. I was just lucky to be like, you know, extroverted in my social circles that I was comfortable in, but putting me somewhere where I'm, you know, out of my depth, I was so nervous. But I've learned to, you know, back myself. I've learned that I am, you know, just as worthy of going places that all these business people are, that, you know, I'd be able to learn something else anyway. And that's because I've had such a mindset shift. So
Okay.
yeah, we just sort of think, why not? Like, have a crack at it, um, you know, throw everything at it, use all my time, my spare time to really focus on this. Like Jack, my husband, he of a weekend he'll, you know, play and hang out with the girls for a while, and I'll work a little bit on the weekend, and you know, he might go do a bit of overtime to like, you
Yep.
know, bring a little bit more money in.
Cool.
And you know, we parent like really 50-50 as well. So it's
Yep.
not that it's not doable given the hours that we've got. But yeah, if you really want to make a change, you absolutely can. Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, congratulations to you. And so for you now, quit your job at 6 months. You're only halfway through our course, Steph. Um, what's the next? I was going to ask what's the next 6 months look like, but I'm interested. What's your ultimate goal? Because this is, I'm presuming, yeah. What's your ultimate goal? And do you two as a couple talk about it? Like for you, yeah. What's life going to look like?
Oh, this is my favorite question.
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
the dream, like the dream. I would love to. I was talking with Lucy, one of the coaches, recently, and she said, you know, you need to sort of become more like the project manager. Like I
Yeah.
am, so I just love going and talking to people about their businesses. That I would love to do more of the networking side of things, and
Ah,
you know, bringing people on board and then being able to outsource some of that work to somebody else. Maybe my husband down the track,
that's
he
why
can
you want him
do
on a
web
course then.
dev and
Okay, let's get
yeah.
him trained up. See, Jack, if you're
Yeah.
listening to this.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
get him on the course. He'll love it.
Yep.
And I want to be able to have just that, be comfortable enough to be able to go, you know what, let's go on holidays. Let's take the kids to do things that we growing up never got to do. You know, we come from big
Yeah.
families. There wasn't huge amounts of money being thrown around on, you know, anything that wasn't a necessity. So we just want to be able to take our kids cool places and make money while I do it, not
Cool.
stress, take care of my health. Like, it was a huge
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Have the time and the money to focus on that. Yeah, just live a good life. And I
Yeah.
just know what's going to happen. I just know it. Like, it's, you know, like I said, if I think it, I'm making it happen one way or another. So
Love it, Steph. And seriously, I want to say a big thank you because what you've just said, I think, can help so many of our listeners. Or it's just about inspiring them. There's no inside secrets here or anything like that. And if you're listening to this, listen to Steph's story. You can make it happen any way you want, but sometimes too, you got to back yourself. I think for me, that was a take home point as well. Even though you're not meant to quit your job in 6 months. Steph, seriously, big thank you for today for coming along to inspire so many people with just this moment in time. And I'm sure you're going to be back on our podcast now, somewhere with an update somewhere in the next 12 months. So you'll be hitting your next goals, but it's also about lifestyle here, which is awesome. So thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Oh, thank you for having me. And just, I can't thank you and Liz enough for what you've done for us. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's life-changing, already life-changing. And I just am really excited to see where the next, 6, 12, 18 months takes us.
I,
So
I'm,
thank
I'm
you very much.
I'm sure
I
you'll be
appreciate
back
it.
on here, Steph. Thank you, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome updates. Knowing you and reading your accountability calls, we'll watch this space if you're listening to this. Let's all wish Steph all the best up there in Harvey Bay, and I'm sure you're going to build an amazing agency for your wonderful clients as well. So thanks, Steph, for coming along. Awesome.
Thanks, Matt.